two people, same life, same income, same timing. March 2009. They both invest $5,000. The market is collapsing. Everything feels unstable. Every instinct says, wait. One of them listens to that feeling. The other ignores it. Fast forward 10 years. One barely moves forward. The other builds serious wealth. Same market, same opportunity, different reaction. And right now, you're standing in that exact kind of moment again. You can feel it, can't you? Something's off. Markets pull back. Prices jump. Headlines get louder. Everything feels uncertain. And the more you look, the worse it gets. Scroll right arrow fear. News right arrow fear. Conversations right arrow fear. At some point, it stops being information. It becomes pressure. Here's what most people don't realize. You're not reacting to facts. You're reacting to framing. Fear is amplified. Risk is exaggerated. Worst-case scenarios get all the attention. Because calm doesn't keep you watching. Fear does. And while you're stuck in that loop, you hesitate. And hesitation is expensive. Go back to 2009. Banks collapsing. Companies failing. Confidence gone. People weren't thinking about investing. They were thinking about survival. Now picture this. Someone quietly invests $500 every month. No headlines, no predictions, no panic, just consistency. Month after month, while everyone else is waiting, while everyone else is scared. 10 years later, that boring decision turns into millions. Not because they were bold, because they didn't stop. Here's what's crazy. When prices fall, your money buys more. A 30% drop, you're getting significantly more shares. A 40% drop, even more. But your brain doesn't see discount. It sees danger. And that's where most people lose. Let's slow this down for a second, because this is the part where everything flips. When prices drop, most people only see loss, red numbers, panic, damage. But that's not the full picture. When the market falls 20%, 30%, even 40%, your money isn't just losing value, it's changing what it can actually buy. Let me make that real. If something was $100 and now it's $70, that same $1,000 doesn't get you 10 shares anymore. Now it gets you over 14. Same money, more ownership. And if it drops further, you're getting even more for the same amount of cash. But your brain doesn't process it that way. It doesn't think this is a discount. It thinks something is wrong, get out. So instead of buying more, people stop, they freeze, or worse, they sell. And that shift from accumulating to avoiding is exactly where long-term damage starts. Let's go back to 2020, because this example is as clear as it gets. Everything shuts down. Flights stop. Businesses close. People stay inside. It didn't just feel bad. It felt uncertain in a way most people had never experienced before. Markets reacted fast. Prices dropped hard, not slowly, not gradually, fast. And now imagine sitting there watching your portfolio go down every single day. You open your app and it's red again, and again, and again. At some point, it stops being numbers. It becomes stress. So people act. They say, I'll step out for now, or I'll come back when things are clearer, or I just need to protect what I have. And that sounds completely reasonable in the moment. But here's what actually happened. The market bottomed and started recovering while people were still trying to understand what was going on. Not after clarity, before it. So while people were waiting, the recovery was already happening. And when they finally came back in, they weren't buying low anymore. They were buying higher. The opportunity didn't disappear, but the best part of it was already gone. Here's something that almost nobody talks about. The market doesn't move in a smooth, predictable line. It doesn't just go up a little bit every day. A huge portion of long-term returns comes from a small number of very strong days, days where the market jumps hard. And here's the part that surprises people. Those days usually happen during chaos, not during calm periods. When everything feels stable, the biggest moves are often already behind you. Think about that for a second. The moments that create the most wealth are the same moments most people are trying to avoid. So if you step out, even temporarily, there's a very real chance you miss those days. And once they're gone, they're gone. You can't rewind the market. You can't go back and capture what you missed. Now let's talk about that thought that keeps coming back. What if this time is different? It's a powerful idea because it sounds logical, it sounds cautious, it sounds like you're being smart. And to be fair, every situation does have differences. The details change, the causes change, the headlines change. But the emotional patterns, that stays the same. In 2009, people thought the financial system might break. In 2020, people thought the world might shut down long term. Right now, there's a new version of that fear. Different story, same feeling. And that feeling is what drives most decisions. If you zoom out far enough, something becomes very clear. Markets go through cycles. They fall, they recover, and then they grow, over and over again. The reasons are always different, but the pattern repeats. And the people who benefit from that pattern are the ones who stay in long enough to experience the full cycle. Not just the drop, but the recovery that follows. Most people experience the fear, but not the payoff. And the reason is simple. They exit before the recovery has a chance to happen. This is where it stops being about markets and starts being about you, your reactions, your decisions, your behavior under pressure. When your portfolio drops, your brain doesn't think long term. It reacts immediately. It wants to stop the pain right now, not later. So it pushes you to act. Sell, wait, do something. Anything to make that feeling go away. But here's the problem. The action that feels safest in the moment is often the one that costs the most later. And most people don't realize that until it's already too late. So what actually works? Not predicting where the market goes next, not trying to time the perfect moment. What works is a system you can stick to, investing consistently, staying in the market, and not breaking your approach when things get uncomfortable. Because uncomfortable moments aren't a signal to stop. They're part of the process. And here's the part most people overlook. The best opportunities rarely feel obvious. They feel uncertain, they feel risky, and they feel like something you should probably avoid. So let's make this simple. Right now, you're making a decision, whether you realize it or not. You're either stepping away, standing still, or continuing forward. Each one feels different in the moment, but they lead to very different outcomes over time. And if you look at history, it's very clear which path has actually worked. The biggest mistake people make is thinking moments like this don't matter that much, that they can wait, that they can decide later. But these are the moments that matter the most. Not when everything is calm, not when everything is obvious, but now, when it's uncertain and uncomfortable. Because years from now, you won't remember the headlines or the noise. You'll remember what you did. So I want a real answer from you, not the right answer, the honest one. What are you actually doing right now? Are you pulling back, waiting it out, or still investing? Drop it in the comments because someone reading that might be trying to make the exact same decision.